From all the countries in the world, why Norway and Scandinavia is the only place on earth where I would accept a job? As this is really the only region I would consider being officially employed again. Why? Let's discuss in this video. Hi guys, I'm Anna and I live between Europe and the US, California, and I'm running my online relocation agency for people like you who would like to move to the country of their dream permanently for settlement or temporary, like me, and share your life between two different countries or two different continents. Whatever you prefer, check our relocation agency, and if you in doubt or would like to get more information about relocation to the country of your dream, please approach us directly. We'll do our best to help you. But for now, talking about jobs, official employment, and why Scandinavia is, as for me, the only right region to consider that official employment. My reason number one in accepting a job in Norway would be its salary. Let's talk money. Money runs the world. As it's a very well-known fact that the salaries in Norway are much higher compared to some other countries in Europe, and they're even higher than some other countries in the same Nordic region. Even according to Statistics Norway, the average salary in Norway is 637,800 Norwegian krona, which is about 4,800 equivalent in US dollars per month. But what's important, it is really important to remember that those salaries are not absolute, and your actual earnings in Norway can be really different depending on your personal circumstances. It strongly depends on various factors. First of all, it would be your industry and the type of job you're doing. As certain sectors, for example oil and gas or IT sector, offers quite higher average salary. And of course, really important, your education and your personal work experience. Your salary will be typically higher depending on the level of education and how many years you spent within this industry. Two things I want to point out here also, guys. First of all, gender factor. I know in Norway people tend to say that still men make slightly more money than female in the same industries, but that slight difference is actually slight. It's nothing compared to the difference between gender income in some different countries, even in countries in Europe like Italy or France, even in the UK. That gap between female and male earnings, it's much lower in a country like Norway. So I would say that in terms of equality and in terms of equivalent of income based on gender, Norway would be one of the most adequate countries in the world. And second, guys, I know coming from the US, especially from California, you will tell me, what, like 5K per month only? But first of all, comparing to California and London, rent in Norway, even in the capital, even in Oslo, is much lower than in those two places I just mentioned. And second thing, you spend much less in Norway. Groceries, they are similar price-wise to London these days. And compared to California, compared to Los Angeles and especially San Francisco, Norway is much cheaper. Also, your other bills like electricity bill, gas, the internet will be much cheaper than in the US. And don't forget that in Norway you have absolutely free healthcare and education system, which is a huge difference. Not to mention that on top of this official employment which you have in Norway, you will have 6 weeks per year of fully paid holidays. You can take all 6 weeks in one go summertime. That's why, well, you can forget about working in Norway starting from the very end of June till the middle of August. The offices are deserted there, so people tend to go on vacation for this whole period of time. My dear friends watching me from America, can you do anything like this in your country? Can you take even 3 weeks in the row from your official employment? Please let me know in the comments down below. By the way, what do you think about average income of 5,000 US dollars per month? Is it a lot for you? Is it not enough? And also, what sort of income you have in your country? Where are you from? Where would you like to move? And what is your reason behind moving from one country to another? Please let me know in the comments down below. And speaking about 6 weeks of paid holidays and all these endless public holidays when the offices are also closed, and also night shifts and all crazy working hours are paid significantly higher in Norway when you travel as a salesperson, as I used to do. If you travel outside working hours, if you have to stay during your business trip somewhere in another place during your weekend, the second half of Friday, you will be paid at least twice double of your normal rate. Which brings us to point number 2, and work and life balance. I would say life and work balance in Scandinavia. Even working in sales, international sales, I could perfectly manage it. Let me tell you a little bit more about life and work balance in Scandinavia in a clear example of Norway, where I spent more than 3 years. How it usually works: you start your working day at around 8 in the morning. If you start earlier, that's absolutely not a problem. When you go to office in Norway, which you also don't really need to do these days if you employed as a salesperson, or when you don't really need to be presented in the office, you can choose how many days per week you can perform your job from home and how many days you would like to go to the office. These days it's so easy to discuss it with your employer and just find the solution which will work for both of us. Those days when you're going to the office, usually you're meeting with your colleagues around coffee machine around 7:30, 7:40 in the morning. But after 3 p.m, the office starts getting deserted. After 4 p.m, it's really hard to find anyone there. Around 4 p.m, people leaving the office to spend more time with their family, their friends, doing their hobbies. Friday is a special day in Norway. First of all, in many offices, like I experienced, it's a cake day, and it's amazing. Well, many offices, if they have canteen, they will have different types of cakes presented in their canteen. But in the office I was working, because we had different nationalities working in one office, for us Friday it was such a cake competition day. So we had a little agreement that people from different countries bringing cakes which is traditional in their country. It's an amazing way to spend time with your colleagues and enjoy those cakes together, and also quite typical thing to leave the office earlier. After 12 noon, people start leaving the offices in Norway. And this is amazing. So, you're working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and Friday you're leaving after 12. That's why Norway is the best country when it comes to arranging your life and work balance. And that was, for me, it was amazing time to have my official employment, but also run my side hustle. I started my first YouTube channel right there. I started my second YouTube channel right there, and I came to this idea of running my relocation agency for you guys to help you to move to the country of your dream also there. Because, well, I didn't have kids, I still don't have them, but still, I was not obliged to spend my weekends with my family, so that's why I invested all the time into creating my own projects. So if you like me and you would like to move to Scandinavia, it will give you an amazing chance of, okay, option number 1, have your official employment and spend a lot of time with your family, with your kids. Or if you're like me, you will have plenty of time to perform your official employment duties, but also start your side project. That's why I absolutely love Scandinavia for this. And by the way, if in Norway you stay in the office later, outside working hours, it's not like in the UK, where your boss will be happy to notice this sort of behavior, and it will mean that you work a lot and you work harder. In Norway, after a few times your boss notices such a behavior, they will invite you to come to their office and ask only one question: are you okay? Can you cope with the amount of work you're doing? So basically in Norway, if you stay outside working hours, it means that you are overworked, you're overloaded with your work, and it might result in your mental health issues. Number 3, and gender equality. I experience anywhere I go in Scandinavia. I'm coming from one of the most male-dominated industries, sales, international sales. I would say that in Europe, in the UK, 80% of people involved in this industry would be men. But in Scandinavia, plenty of women taking higher position in the companies, also in the government. As far as I remember, Norwegian government is 48% women and 42% men. equality. This is a great example of gender equality. No one ever raised an eyebrow when I was having my position of head of international sales and business development. It was absolutely fine. So it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter how old you are, everyone in Norway is treated exactly the same. Principle of equality, especially gender equality, is absolutely insane in Scandinavia and especially in Norway. So if you would like to develop your career and reach a very good point of your career without pointing out that you're female, maybe you should not take this position. No, in Norway, no one cares. Respect is definitely one of those words to describe Nordic region in general and Norway in particular. So next one is respect for the family. As I mentioned to you before, in Norway, if you stay longer hours after working hours, if you stay in the office, you might be seen as a bad parent. Also things like you need to leave the office earlier because you need to go and see the performance of your kids in the school, or you need to take your kids to another class of skiing or something. Go for it, no one will ever stop you. If you need to take a day off to look after your kids, or if you need to take them to like other activities, or God forbid they feeling sick or something, family always comes first in Norway. Nothing can be more important than your family. So if you're looking for the right place to combine your career development, but also your family life and spending time with your family, with your kids, Norway and Scandinavia in general is the absolutely right region for this purpose. And our last but far not least, and lack or absence of any sort of toxic atmosphere in Norwegian office. It was one of my most favorite things about working in Norwegian office. Norwegians, they are not really people who like all these scandals, all these, toxic relationships, sarcasm, like sick sense of humor. Let me give you an example. It's quite a typical thing if you work in the UK to have this thing like office banter. Well, they're calling it with a nice word, banter, but what it means, it's all these sarcastic jokes about your work colleagues, and well, if you're not able to handle it, most probably you will be just an outsider. The core of the company, they will push you out if you cannot laugh at yourself. Well, it doesn't really work for everyone, and sometimes it's really too much. You will never have anything like this in Norway. People tend to compliment you there for the way you dress, what you wear, or say nothing. They would never insult you. They will never make any sarcastic, like sort of borderline toxic jokes. Never heard this. So the lack of this toxic atmosphere you might experience in some other countries is a very, very strong point about working in Norwegian office. It just makes all this office culture in Norway much pleasant environment to be. You're just always happy to go to that office and spend time with your colleagues, and if you don't want to go to that office, you just stay home and work from home. Thank you so much, Norway, and thank you so much, Scandinavia, for giving us such a great chance to finally balance our career, work performance, but also our family and personal life. Guys, if you have more questions about working in Scandinavia, about working in Norway, please let me know in the comments down below. For now, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Bye for now, guys. Bye.